What's up, good people? Welcome to TajeAstrology. It's time for a little astrology gossip. Let's take a look at these celebrities' astrological placements to see what they're really like behind closed doors, and take a look at the energy that's around them. Yeah, we gonna be all up in their business, but keep in mind that all readings are for entertainment purposes only. So you ready? Let's go. What's up, everyone? It's your girl Tom. Welcome to Taje Astrology. And I know what time it is. It is time for another celebrity couples reading. And as promised, we're going to look at Clarissa and Papoose. Now, y'all know for several months they have been in the limelight and nothing has changed. So, of course, I had to take a look. I had to take a look to see what was going on because there's just so many, so much talk, so much rumors about what is going on with them. But you know what? The stars don't lie. So let's go. Y'all ready? Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button as we get into these celebrities' business. All right, now let's start with Miss Clarissa. And I believe they said that her name is pronounced Clarissa, right? So Clarissa was born March 17th, 1995, all right, in Flint, Michigan. 30 years old. Now we all know that she is a professional boxer and former professional mixed martial artist, right? So she's a cold mother student. She has held 18 major world championships spanning 5 weight classes, including the undisputed female light middleweight title in March of 2021, the undisputed female middleweight title twice, being in 2019 and 2024 with the World Boxing Council. And then I got this information from Wikipedia, so I didn't go really in depth, but I also know that she has some Olympic uh, achievements as well. All right, now our brother Papoose. Papoose was born March 5th, 1978, in Brooklyn, New York. He is 47 years old. He is an American rapper known for his freestyles and prolific mixtape output. Papoose began his career in 1998 and has released 4 studio albums and 29 mix tapes. All right. So, they have their own thing going on in their own respective way. Now, we know that their relationship started out in a very, very controversial manner, right? So it was said that she was engaged to this fella. I think he was I don't know if he was her trainer or what have you. I know that there's videos out there of the young man helping her train. And then we also know that Papoose is still currently married to Remy Ma. And we know that they divorced. Well, actually, they're still married, they're separated. And I believe this happened about 2 years because they were recently on the Breakfast Club. And she said that it'll be 2 years. I think she said in March or May. I can't remember. But it's going on 2 years. It happened to be good. Now, I am a sole believer that you don't need divorce papers for the relationship to be over. And clearly, you know, yeah, well, okay, so we'll go ahead and throw that in there. Uh, During that time, it was said that Remy was messing with, what was he, what do you call, I can't think of, what is that rap? This is like the ciphers, right? So there's a whole story in and of itself, right? Um, so like I said, it started out very controversial, but they've been together for almost 2 years. I would suggest go to the Breakfast Club and watch the interview. Very, very interesting, especially once Clarissa comes up to the table, right? And they've been in the limelight in the news because there's, it's said that Papoose doesn't really show affection. Uh, that you can tell that she's more into him than he is to her. Just a lot of interesting talk. So I wanted to pull their chart to kind of see what was going on. Now, as you all can see, they're both Pisces, right? Two Pisces. And when I pulled their chart, it's like she has 3 times Pisces. She has a Pisces. Let me see. Pull it up here. She has a Pisces Sun, of course, Pisces Mercury, Pisces Saturn, where he has a Pisces Sun, a Pisces Mercury, Pisces Venus, and a Pisces Mars, right? So that's a lot of Pisces energy. That is a lot of energy between those two. Now, when I take a look at her, what I see just off of her quick placements, Pisces Sun, we know that Pisces are very intuitive, very creative. We do know that they have a certain level of empathy, right, as well as emotional sensitivity. They're very, very sensitive with their emotions. And that's really regardless of their moon sign. I mean, the moon does have an influence, but we know that that is one of the traits of the Pisces. Now, she has a Libra moon, which what that tells me is that if the moon is emotions, so she is really like relationships is very important to her because Libra represents relationships as well as Libras really don't want to kick up a lot of dirt, but they will if they need to. But they typically want to be laid back, kind of cool cucumbers when they need to be. But it represents relationships, and they would rather, I would say, shrink themselves as opposed to get into an emotional confrontation within a relationship. Now, that Mercury Pisces tells me that, she may, Pisces also represents delusion and seeing things how they want to see them as opposed to how they really are, right? And so some of the times when you have Mercury and Pisces, they may say things that really just doesn't make sense, and that is what it is. Now with the Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius, what that tells me is that because Venus is love, Venus is things of beauty, of value, and what that tells me is that she is okay with unorthodox or unusual relationships, right? So what I'm basically saying is that she don't give a shit that everybody is in their feelings that she's with a married man. If she feels like she loves him, she's gonna ride for whoever she feels like she loves, right? And then you have that Leo Mars. That Leo Mars is, that is the cockiness that she throws off when she's within her arts, right? When she's within her particular craft, which is boxing or the mixed martial arts. And because Mars is that aggression, it's that energy, it's that power. And Leo, well, Leo's going to be the center of attention. So that's one of the reasons why she was perfectly fine with naming herself the GWOAT, the greatest woman of all times, because Leos feel they're the greatest anything, all things of all time. So Yeah, so that's it for Clarissa. Now let's take a look real quick at the Papoose again, Pisces Sun. So what that tells me again, very intuitive. Now, typically the women seem to be more intuitive than the guys, but there still is a level of intuitiveness that comes with it because that's just the energy of Pisces, right? Again, very emotional, emotionally sensitive, right? See things how they want to see them as opposed to how they truly are, right? Looking at things through rose colored glasses. And then Pisces are the martyrs of the zodiac. They will put themselves in situations where they basically kind of like setting themselves up. So when things go bad, they can take that victim mentality. That's the energy of Pisces. All right. He has a Capricorn moon. So what that tells me is that in this dynamic, he is more of the authoritarian in this relationship because Capricorns, they're about taking care of business, they're about being the boss. And when you have that emotion, that Capricorn moon, that tells me that you're going to be a little bit more uh, emotionally disciplined, per se, uh, than, say, someone that's the Libra moon like Clarissa. Now, he also has Mercury and Venus Pisces, right? So Mercury is communication. So he may say some things that just doesn't make sense, but also he's a rapper, right? And Pisces is also creativity. There's art form in that. So he's very, very creative. We know that he's very, very talented in what he does. Um, oh, and then also the Pisces Mars. So the Venus, Mercury, and Mars. Venus is again, it's love. It's how they receive love. It's how they give love. And with that Pisces mentality, he needs someone that he can dream with, that he can be creative with, right? That Mars, the Pisces Mars, well, that is like a passive aggressive energy, right? So he may or may not just come full force, like say in Aries Mars, but he's gonna switch things around to where it's a passive aggressive situation where he can kind of stay back and be the victim. All right, so let's take a look at them together. All right. Let me get my notes. All right. Now, y'all know that I already did a reading before this relationship took place with Papoose and Remy. And I can't help it. I had to take a look at their relationship as opposed to this relationship. And I will also say that when I ran the uh, the chart on Remy and Papoose, I put in a location for Papoose at New York City, right? New York City, New York, which brought him to a his Mars. It made it Cancer, right? When I read his report on with Clarissa, it brought him to a Pisces Mars. And I put in Brooklyn, New York. So that small placement did change his placements. So if you watch the Remy and Pat reading and you come and watch this one, the Mars did change because I changed location. And I just went off of what was probably on Wikipedia, what was online. And so when I went this time, it said Brooklyn, New York. So it did change that. So I just wanted to kind of put that disclosure out there. Now, Pisces, two Pisces Sun people, which is, kind of called an exact match. All right. Now, astrologically, this is one of the strongest We just get each other pairing, right? If you look at that video of them at the Breakfast Club interview, he mentions that she is his best friend, right? And I believe it's because of this energy. And really, if you, in my opinion, their chart, Clarissa and Papoose chart, is a better chart than Remy and Papoose. Okay? Astrologically speaking, astrologically looking at the aspects, right? Clarissa and Paps chart is like a soulmate chart. It really is. They have a lot of pairings that just really add up. But we'll go into that a little bit later. Now, again, with both of them having the sun in Pisces, they get each other, right? And they're very intuitive with each other, right? As well as they can both be emotionally sensitive towards each other. I think that he is probably going to be a little bit more grounded with that Capricorn moon kind of in the mix as opposed to her Libra moon because Capricorn is earth and Libra is air. So she's going to be in her head. He's going to be more grounded emotionally, right? But this Sun Pisces, it creates like a soulmate recognition, right? They really feel emotionally safe, together. And it's like emotionally being naked together and feeling safe. The downfall on this is that too much emotions merging together can blur boundaries, right? And this, if they're not conscious of this, because another thing that Pisces represents is blurred boundaries. Pisces typically have to work on setting their boundaries so that they're not taken advantage of, and they don't just allow people to walk all over them for the sake of having empathy, right? And feeling uh, what this person is feeling or seeing things how they really are. Now, uh, let's see here. They're Mercury, both Pisces. All right. So Mercury is the mind, is communication, is the mental bond. So they're blending together on that as well, right? So how they communicate with each other is non-linear, right? It's very emotional, very intuitive. They may be able to finish each other's sentences because they're just that tapped in with each other, right? And they can share their dreams and their emotions and spirituality and memories with this particular placement. Now, again, what they need to watch out for is that they difficult conversations they probably avoid. You know, Pisces aren't really, they kind of sidestep confrontation and conflict for the most part. And anything that might be too emotionally charged for them, they might avoid it. And so if you have two people with that placement, that can be a problem, right? And also they could be assuming what the other one feels instead of just clarifying it. And they may not want to clarify because they may not like the answer. All right, let's go. Let's see what else we got. All right, so the love style, Venus. Right, so we have an Aquarius Venus, and we have a Pisces Venus. Right now, that Aquarius Venus, because remember, Venus is love, is the love style, it's the love language, it's the affection, how you give love, how you receive love. Needs Clarissa's Aquarius needs that freedom, right? That friendship is very, very important, especially with that Libra moon and that individuality in love, right? And how she shows love is through loyalty, support, and mental connection. So you go back to that Breakfast Club, and I'm going back to the Breakfast Club because that was really the first time that I've seen them together interact. I mean, I've seen like videos here and there, but not like actual conversation. I've seen, yeah, them promoting stuff, but not talking. And she got very, very upset when, of course, people are going to bring up Remy. Yeah, they're going to bring her up because one, they're still married, and that just how everything happened. And she was very upset, rightfully so. You don't want them bringing up the ex while you're right there. I mean, because at the end of the day, she might not be an ex-wife, but she's definitely an ex-lover. Um, so she was very irritated by that, right? And then how you can see how Clarissa, with the loyal support, she called, what did she say to him? I think she called him a cheat code. So basically, have all the answers to make things better. She really kind of support him and shows her loyalty and what he means to her. The Pisces, the Venus Pisces, that is a deep love aspect, right? Very romantical, emotional, right? And when you have Pisces Venus, you need reassurance, right? You need that tenderness, that emotional fusion because Pisces feels, so they need to be able to feel good and they need to feel good with their partner. I do believe that he softens her emotional walls, right? And I do believe that she grounds his idealism with realism and independence. Now, he may want more emotional closeness than she naturally gives, even though I think that with that Libra, she probably gives him more than what she typically would have done if she had a different placement. And I do think that she may need a little bit more space, uh, and and that might be a little bit difficult for him to understand. But I think they're still in the honeymoon phase, and I think that it is definitely the in the honeymoon phase. Now let's talk about Mars, which is in sexual chemistry and passion, right? Clarissa's Leo Mars, like we said, Papoose Pisces Mars, right? And so that is a powerful attraction combo. Um, Clarissa is passionate, expressive, has a dominant energy, and also needs that admiration and mutual desire, right? And I think that that might be maybe challenging for her at this point because I think she may be getting all the emotional whatever that she needs behind the scenes, but in front, they seem like they are for it to be a year, almost 2 years. They seem like they are, they don't seem in love, but they seem to love each other. They seem to support each other. You know, I mean, it's no shade, but how he was with Remy and how he is with her is different. I think everybody sees that, and I think she may be that that probably stresses her out. Of course, if you're the girlfriend, she probably feels a certain kind of way about that. At Pisces, Mars is very sensual, emotional, spiritually intimate. Uh, Desires that emotional safety and vulnerability within sex, right? And I think, like I said, I think that behind closed doors, which is probably what is keeping the fire going in public, because he's probably giving her everything that she wants or close to everything that she wants behind closed doors, right? So I think that for both of them, sex become both passionate and emotional healing. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. So we got the, let's go to Capricorn, right? So Capricorn, I mean, not Capricorn, Saturn. Let's see, hold on. What did we just do? We just did Mars. Okay, so. Okay, so yeah, Saturn. All right, so Saturn, Clarissa's Pisces, Saturn, his Leo, Saturn, right? So Saturn is what your commitment, your longevity, uh, your mature factor, right? And I think that they have a strong karmic bond, right? Some people say that he is just in it for the money. There's rumors saying that he really hasn't accomplished anything, and she's, way more accomplished, and he's just in it for the long run. As a matter of fact, I think that one of the things that really, when she had her live was saying, is that he really don't bring anything to the table, and with that Capricorn moon, he probably feels like he brings that support, make things stable and solid, because that's what Capricorn moons do. With Clarissa's Pisces Saturn and Papoose Pisces stellium, because he does have a stellium, and Saturn, like I said, they have that strong karmic bond. And with this placement, I believe that it feels like it was meant to be, right? They have that emotional connection, and this particular placement, her Pisces Saturn and his Pisces stellium, that's going to encourage maturity, patience, and I think that there's like an emotional responsibility on her end. So I think that she will wait it out as long as he continues to feed her. I'm going to say delusion, because I don't think that, well, is I think as long as she feels like she's getting what she emotionally needs, she's gonna wait it out, right? Because I think at this point it's an emotional responsibility. She, you know, uh, gushes over how important he is to her, right? And with his Leo Saturn, uh, that brings long term commitment. So I think that once he commits, then I think he's in there like swimwear. I don't think at this point, December 26, 2025, that he has fully committed to her. Well, he couldn't have fully committed to her because he's still legally married to Remy. And from what I understand, he's the one who's holding it up. So if you're ready to let go and commit to this young lady that you're with now, why won't you let go of that? But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, I do believe that this relationship has changed both of them. Saturn brings changes, and it brings a certain level of discipline, right? Now, I do believe that they are learning to release control and comfort, right? And I think that that is what Clarissa is being taught with her North Node in Scorpio, South Node in Taurus, and learning to transform through deep emotional bonds. And I think what his nodal placement is that truly learning partnership and to be able to compromise and bring about balance, right? And I think once they are fully committed, that it's going to push them out of their comfort zone, right? It takes them to places that they probably never thought that they would be, that they would achieve, right? Now, Chiron. Now we know that Chiron is the wounded healer, right? And with that, we have Clarissa, Virgo, Chiron, Papoose, Taurus, Chiron, right? And so what that Virgo Chiron is, healing through service, because that's what Virgo brings about, healing or service, acts of service to others. Uh, but we also know that Virgos can be very, they want that, they want perfection, right? And I think that she may struggle with attempting to be perfect. And I think she needs to learn just to have a little bit more patience and understanding with herself and, what she requires from others. Papoose is Chiron's Taurus, right? And I think that is like healing self worth, security issues, being grounded, right? And I think that together they can heal each other's wounds as long as they keep communication open, not blur the lines, have set boundaries, and if honesty, they got to be honest with each other. They have got to be honest with each other. But I do believe that there is a deep emotional and spiritual bond between these two. I really do. And I think that they understand each other, even oftentimes without even saying anything, right? And this placement has the potential to be very long term, just with the placements. Now, the placements are the placements, and the people are the people. And I've said this before, but I think that this, like I said, I like their chart together more than I like Remy and Papoose. Now, I think that, like I said, with Remy and Papoose, I think that Papoose loved Remy more than Remy loved Papoose. Remy actually looked miserable in their marriage, and it was really crazy because everybody was like, "Oh, black love, black love, black love," but it's like they're looking at the worst and not at the people's face. He seemed happy, she did not, and I don't want to say it's flip on this side, but I will say that Clarissa at this point seemed to be more into Pap than Pap is into her. But I do believe that he still has some emotional ties to Remy. I do. And looking at the charts compared to each other, there are some significant ties to that. Now, I do believe that once he finally lets it go, that he could commit. Now there's been talks that he has other women, which I'm not surprised about that because most men do. But I, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But will I think that their connection be the same? Will Clarissa and Pap's connection be the same as Remy and Pap's? And the answer is no, because the placements are different, the aspects are different, the connections are different, the people are different. But I think that they both had their own relationship that is, respective of their own relationship. Now, I think that what they need to avoid in order for Clarissa and Pap's relationship to work with, especially with all this water energy, they need to watch out for emotional avoidance and assumptions. All right, don't assume one way or the other. Now, do I believe that Pap may be kind of leading her on to fill a void? Yeah, but I do believe that how he feels about her is legit. And again, we're dealing with Pisces, and unfortunately, there's a lot of delusional energy that happens with Pisces. I mean, just take for instance, Krishan Rock is a Pisces, and she's like a four-time Pisces as well. So there's a lot of delusion that comes with just the Pisces energy, and within relationships, they have to watch out for emotional assumptions and avoidance. They have to keep it open. They have to keep it honest. They can't play like it don't exist. They can't just let everything go. And if that's not in place, then it's gonna be some issues. Uh, they do have that different emotional expression styles, and with Paps, Capricorn Moon. And Capricorns typically aren't that touchy feely type of person. They show love in what they're doing, making sure like him getting whatever deals that he got for her and making sure that she's going forward in her career. That's how he shows love, right? And where Libra moon, they do require that, touchy feeliness, right? Uh, But I think that Libra moon is going to rationalize his action. So that may be the reason why he may seem disconnect, but I do believe that he has legit love for her. They also, again, making sure that that the love is balanced. One partner giving more emotionally than the other, right? That could be a problem. Uh, Also, they need to watch out for idealizing the relationship instead of addressing reality. Again, it's I don't want to be, respectfully, it's delusional city. When you're dealing with Pisces, they are some loving, sweet people, but it's like, you want to be like, snap out of it, come back to reality, snap out of the delusion. They want to see this rose colored, everything is perfect, don't want to deal with nothing, and they have to deal with that. Yeah, when you have one that seeks emotional discussions and reassurance, and then the other one may, kind of draw back and just try to handle business and show up, that could create an emotional distance and unmet needs, right? And again, there's a lot of Pisces overlap, right? That could lead to like projecting fantasies onto each other, right? Avoiding the truths and hard facts and staying in a relationship longer than is healthy. I think that if either one of them get to the point where they realize that the relationship is not healthy, that they need to leave. But because they have a tendency to blur the lines, they're gonna say, well, we got all these five bad, horribly bad things, but there's this one good thing, and they could really they could be each other's best asset, or they could be each other's worst. And if they're both playing the victim because they chose one or the other, or both chose to see things as they wanted to, as opposed to how it really was, that could create a problem. If one values independence and love, and then the other needs that emotional closeness, that could lead to a partner feeling neglected, right? If one is very direct, very expressive, and pride driven, with that Leo Mars, and then you have the other one that's very passive and indirect, her Pisces Mars, that can lead to resentment, right? And one thing that someone had pointed out is that in the Breakfast Club interview, Clarissa had these bags up under her eyes, right? And I mean, shit, I have to go back to see if they were really there. She did look kind of worn out. And, in relationships, couples fight or what have you, but I just hope that they're vibrating on their highest vibration. I just hope that they're vibrating. You know, if both sidestep difficult conversations, and like I said, assuming that one feels a certain kind of way as opposed to the other, or just not being like, hey, let's talk about this. That's gonna lead to misunderstandings. It's gonna lead to you know it can be a lot. It could be a lot. And I think that because it has so much overlappage, that this could feel like very heavy and very um, like obligated, overly obligated at times. And I think that because that obligation is there, it might make it hard for them to leave each other, right? And this is even when emotional exhaustion sets in. So, in closing, I do believe that he cares a lot for Russell. I do believe he actually loves her. That there is a best friend aspect. I think that he just shows love in a different manner by making things happen for her. I think that he knows right now that he can't give himself 100% to her at this point. I think that that is bothering her because she really loves him as well. She really loves relationships, and she's willing to do whatever she needs to do to make this relationship happen and be successful. And he's not able to, even if he's with her 24 hours a day, emotionally, he's just not there. I believe that his heart is still with Remy, and this is just based on the placements, right? And when I pulled up, when I pulled up her chart, his uh, Mercury and Venus. Let me see. Hold on. Let me look real quick. His Mercury is in Gemini, which and Venus. Let me see. His Venus is in Pisces. But their placements, he like there is a bond. And it's really kind of like he needs to let go of that delusion with Remy, right? But I think that there is that hold on him, right? His is his Pisces. Let me see. Hold on. His um yeah, the placements that he has with Remy is that trine with Uranus. They had a he has a an attachment to Remy that Remy doesn't have for him. And until he lets that go, he's not going to be able to move forward with Clarissa. And I really do believe, and respectfully, I say this, that if Remy was to say, okay, let's come back, I believe that he would leave Clarissa. Now, do I believe that it would be easy for him to leave Clarissa? No, because they have established a connection. But I believe that his priority, his values, and I don't think it has anything to do with the baby, is his connection with women. I think it would be hard for him to cut ties, but I do believe that he would cut ties if had to make a choice. And I think that's one of the reasons why he hasn't signed that paperwork. So I do think that Clarissa needs to be careful in that aspect. And you know, that Pisces, she's not gonna listen to anybody's advice. She's gonna see these rose colored glasses, and it is what it is. And you know, she's a grown woman; she can do that. But I also think that that's why, thus far, he has not been outwardly affectionate towards her. That is kind of like an unspoken sign of respect for the marriage that he's still in, and you know, not to be like all up on her, all up on Clarissa, just in case Remy changes her. Like, we all know that they, you know, they're getting busy behind closed doors. We understand that, but to put that in Remy's face, the connection, the kissy, the touchy, yeah, I think that in his mind, he's still kind of showing her a level of respect just in case. Just in case. But what I don't see Remy changing her mind at this point, I just simply do not see it. So I really think that Pat needs to focus on the one who loves him, right? The one who is giving him the attention, the one who is, I don't want to say sacrificing, but who is there for him, who's focus on the relationship with him, and then let go of that delusion that he has with Remy, and be able to give Clarissa the love and the 100% that she deserves. So that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. Like I said, I do like Clarissa and Papoose chart better than I like Remy and Papoose's chart. But there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of water, there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of delusion, and looking at things through rose colored glasses. And so they're really going to have to be open and honest and clear with boundaries. And uh, and if it becomes too much, be like, okay, this might be too much. So, all right, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Okay. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. And, you know, comment below. Let me know what you think, what you see, how you feel about Clarissa and Papoose. I mean, I like them together. I really do. Of course, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I can only look at the aspects and the aspects of the aspects of the people of the people. And people aren't bound to the aspects. It kind of shows the energy that the aspects influence, but we all have the ability to make changes and make different decisions, and you know, it is what it is. So, all right, y'all, I will holler at y'all in the next video. Again, hit the thumbs up button, make sure y'all subscribe, and hit the notification bell so the next time I drop a video or go live, you will be notified. And don't forget, check out the website TajeAstrology.com. I will be dropping either today or tomorrow a blog about the male-female relationship, because you know, the men and the women are fighting amongst each others and they can't get it right. Like, the relationship, they cannot get it right. So I'm gonna drop a blog on that. So stay tuned for that. All right, my love Zodies. I'll see y'all next time. Salute.